Hello class, I miss you already. Anyways, we are going to get started. Now, first things first, if any of you have not completed your Russian art, you will do that first. So I want you to watch this instructions, and then before you begin this art piece, you are going to finish your Russian art, complete your artist statement describing how you completed it and how you could do better, and then you'll move on to working on this art piece. There are simple steps to this. It should not be too difficult, and I'm sure the teacher working with you will be very, very supportive. Now this is a very popular painting. We're not doing this, but we're getting some inspiration. I don't know if you know the artist, but his name is Vincent Van Gogh. And the theme to this, it's called Starry Night, but if you'll notice, he uses a lot of movement in this painting. You'll see the lines showing waves and movement in the wind, and especially around the moon you see a lot of bright yellow and orange showing it at the nighttime. And then around the stars you'll see a concentration of those similar colors. And a lot of people think at first that that's the sun, but it's not. It's just what he chose to use for the coloring. It's called Starry Night for a reason. And if you notice at the bottom you see the buildings, and they're not perfect like buildings you would see when you look outside. These are an artistic interpretation. So this is what inspired the Starry Night, and we're going to do a starry night over our perspective country. So I'm going to set this down and kind of show you what I'm talking about. At your tables you're going to be given several images of buildings from Africa. No, you guys are Russia. From Russia. And the idea is that in Russia, every country will have special things about their architecture. Architecture is indeed an art form. You'll see, especially that basilica style that we saw in the Tsar Sultan story, that rounded top at the bottom with a point at the end. This, in fact, is a church. You'll see crosses at the top. The different shapes and structures, it's really popular. The pointed ends at the bottom here, you can see those shapes. So you'll have different examples. I think I have 4 different popular buildings in Russia found. So for your city that you're going to be using, you'll be able to choose from, as your inspiration for the outline of your cityscape, any of these Russian-style architectures. So this will be things you can observe, notice the details, the outlines, and that's going to be our city. Now you're going to be given your blue paper, you're going to be given oil pastels, pencil, Sharpies, scissor, glue stick, and then of course the drawing paper. This is going to be a 2-parter. To begin, I want you to think about what that Van Gogh painting looked like with the line movement. Our first goal is getting that that middle ground and that background with the moon and the movement lines. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I have a paper towel to kind of clean my oil pastels, because they get that dingy stuff on them. And then I'm going to start doing circles and those lines to go around them as little lines in a circular fashion. And you can decide, usually you'll do the yellow and whites around whatever your moons are or your stars are, right? And this will take you some time. You're just doing this part to cover the whole page. And the second step will be collaging on your buildings. So you take your time covering up. And I can tell if you rushed, and these will be staying at school for me to look over. This is part of your Russian unit. We're looking at the cityscapes, comparing architecture. It is an art form. There are elements of art. You can go in and add in the white. You can add in some white wind. And if you notice, those are the lighter colors, And then he also uses dark colors to fill in all the other places with those little tiny lines. And so when you go through, you'll follow that same pattern of lines going through into following that circular pattern around whichever one they're close to. Make sure you emphasize. As you can tell, I think I need to put some more orange probably where my moon is. Make it a little brighter so it stands out. This should take some time because you want it to look cool. So it stands out as to what the whole connections are. And I even grab some purple. You'll bring it around. And again, you can choose whichever colors you want to do. But I'm probably going to stop because I don't want to have to do the whole thing. Your job is to fill the whole thing with these motion lines that we saw in that Vincent Van Gogh painting. Now hopefully you'll be able to have it on the computer screen. Maybe the teacher can look it up in color. I only had it printed in dark here, like I have it on the board. When it's filled, then you take your drawing paper, line it up so that you know how wide you're going to be able to have it. Take your pencil. Actually, I'm going to do it like this. Trace it along so you know the length and the width. And that's going to be about how wide you can have it, because that's as wide as the paper is. Okay. So this is about, now remember, fill all this up. Don't leave it blank. I did because I'm trying to teach you, and I don't want you sitting here watching me do the whole page. But you're filling up the whole sky. Remember we talked about you have your buildings, but the sky keeps going. So you'll do all of this. So it's going. Okay, and what you do is you'll decide, once it's all filled up, you're going to decide where you want to put the buildings, which spots after you cut it out and you've designed it, where it'll look the coolest, okay? It might be that I change it and, oh, the moon, I put my moon there, so I don't have much of a choice. So here, if I decide that I want to do it based on this building, I'm going to do a sketch in light pencil first, okay? So I might take a look, start with the outer edges. So if I'm going to do this, I'm going to kind of take a look and I see I have these tall column-y figures here first, and I have this down here, it's going across like a bridge even. So, and I might make it bigger and I might change it. You're just getting those shapes that stand out. So maybe I'll do a bridge here that comes out. I see a triangle, and if it makes you nervous, find the basic shape, the triangle, right? Then it comes up straight. And then I have another triangle at the top. Down. Then I have it going around. And it can be wispy and movement. The buildings in there were not perfect. They looked kind of almost mystical. So it doesn't, this can be almost magical. Let's just call it magical. So we'll do another circle around. And here's the situation. If I'm really copying this, we have overlapping. So I have to look at how I'm going to do this. I'm going to have the little bit of column in the back that I know is back there. And then I have to finish the column in the front. And this is just the basic outline part that I'm doing first. Come around. Maybe I decide I don't want to do that part and I'll just bring it all the way down. Maybe I want it to be more like that. Maybe And then I'll bring this around here. I'll do that round shape that I like so much from Aladdin. I'll have it come over this way. And then now I can add some of the round parts to it that are kind of cool, that are specific to the Russian style. Okay, kind of come out. And again, we have detail, but we don't have to go crazy with too much detail. It just depends on how much you decide to do. You're going to be going back over this with your black Sharpie. I'm going to add maybe one more column here. Have one further in the back, lower. Now this didn't do what I wanted it to do, so I'm going to fix it. Because I can't make it go as high, it cut off in the paper, and I was copying the paper pretty closely. I'm going to make it go a little shorter because it's not going to match. And that's okay. Even art teachers mess up. There. So that's going to just be lower. And this comes down. So it's overlapped from here. And then I can add my windows. Okay. And then from here, I mean, you have the opportunity to really go in and add in some more details. Looking at the roof, where that goes. As long as you've got that basic outline, and then you'll be able to go through and start adding in some more specific things, like if I were to do the fences and take my time with that. But with some of that stuff might even just be, I might even wait and only use my fine Sharpie. We have both Sharpies available. We have the thick one. We also have the thin with the really extra fine point. So that might be where I'll go in and I'll add my fencing. And this will take some time, right? No need to rush. It'll look pretty cool, actually, when it's all said and done. So you'll go through and you'll fill it in. Okay. You probably use the thicker one probably for the main parts, right? If you find that some of your pencil's showing, erase it if your marker doesn't cover it all the way, okay? And the plan is, when this is done, now obviously I'm teaching. I'm not here just to do a whole art piece in front of you. I'm going to stop so that I can show you the next part, okay? You're going to fill this in. You're going to go in and you're going to add in all the details. You're going to add in windows, and you're going to add in different noticings that you find from this Russian art. Okay, they have design, symmetry, they have patterns, all those things, and they'll be specific to Russian. You'll notice it's a little different from American architecture. Our buildings don't look like Russian buildings all the time. It's remarkable, just the things that are different. Then you will cut out the outline of these buildings so that when you look at them, it is the buildings over the starry night, right? Obviously, I did not finish, and that is okay. As I am teaching, you are meant to get this complete. Take your time. Okay, and if it is completely done, and once you have added all the fine details and looked at all the different components of your piece, you can always go back in and see if there's any other structures you'd want to add in. Okay? Again, this is only if your Russian artwork and your Russian art statement is complete. You can do the Starry Night architecture. Okay. And if you are inspired but want to do a different kind of thing, you can. So you'll go through and you'll have this completely filled. Adding in all the different, filling it in. And if your Sharpie's bad, please get rid of it. I don't want it. Throw it away, get a better marker. This won't look good if it's all with an old Sharpie. Take your time. Fill it in. Get all the details. It won't look good if it's faded black. When that's done, you're going to glue it with a glue stick on the base. Okay? And that will pretty much be the Starry Night picture. When it's filled with the starry night sky, when this is complete with all the black details, it will look really nice. Okay? If you have any questions, ask your teacher. When everything is done, cleaned up, put away, your Russian art is complete. Your name, your teacher's name is on the back. You could do something from the finisher kits, but I highly doubt you'll get to that. Have a good day.